All right, real happy to have my next guest on Sports Car Nation podcast, Peter Packman. Man, let me give him all the accolades. He's one of the stars of Outside the Wax, a podcast, content creator extraordinaire. He does some of the greatest hobby videos you're ever going to see. I laugh out loud, which is not an easy task, and it, you know. And 1/3 of the Rip Pack and Slab group with Rip Hamiltops and Slabby Sosa. Peter, welcome to the show, man. Appreciate you making some time for us tonight.
Man, thank you for having me, having us. I'm a representation of the team here, even when they're not with me. So we just appreciate the love and the positive energy, John. For real, for real. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and it's something else we're going to touch on. I even missed something in the open there, but we'll get it in during the conversation itself. Just kind of give me, how did the hobby start for you? I know it's probably a question you've answered numerous times, but for those listening to this show, kind of where did it all begin?
Man, like a lot of us, or like many of us in the hobby, John, it began when I was a young boy, 9 years old, probably 8, 9 years old, maybe 7, but I can remember completing my first set in a binder with binder sheets was 1990 or 91 Fleer. So I was born in 83. So I was about 8 or 9 years old. And I remember buying those packs, my father buying me those packs. So, right. I was actually privileged to be able to be in the hobby at a young age. Because at that time, when I was a child, I thought every kid had cards. And it took for me to become a young man and start working in schools outside of my comfort zone and my privileged area to realize, wow, I was privileged. I had a lunch every day to go to school. I had clothes. I had parents to pick me up and bring back and forth. And I had sports cards and toys and games. But on certain parts of the planet, that doesn't exist, right? So I was privileged at a young age from my father to be able to instill that in our lives, for us to, have fun with it and enjoy the players on the card. And just, I think the collecting aspect of it and the time we spent together is kind of the same exact things I mimic today with my own kids. So that's what got us into it, was my father, for sure.
Yeah, a shout out to Pops getting you started, and
Yeah.
here you are, 1983, 2021, still doing big things and passing that love for the hobby down to the next generation. I'm a little older than you, so I'll say behind us both. But you make no secret, and I agree with you. Like you're a big fan of the Pacific brand. And some of those early, releases from them, which were really great, but at the time, sort of received lukewarm. But just because they were going in there in the arena with your tops and your Donruses and your upper decks, and it was tough. But I think it's funny. I think they're getting some of that respect a little bit later in time than at the time. And what was it for you with Pacific that I know the designs were really a lot different. I think that may sometimes different scares people, and I think maybe there's a little bit of that. Some of the old guard was like, that's just too out there. And I mean, what was it for you though that you said, hey man, this is really good stuff, and I like it?
So for me, for us, really it was, John. I remember Pacific from the early '90s. Or mid '90s. I remember playing around with some Pacific cards when I was a kid, being able to have some. You know what I mean? And I liked them, but I can't say I was in love with them. It wasn't until probably 7 months ago, 8 months ago, when I was actually, I love to do research on the hobby. I like to dig and challenge everything and ask why and who inspired what, starting from Peck and Snide in 1868, even before that in the Ming Dynasty, and like way before, just where all these ideas came from. And like we all know, I don't know if we all know, but growing up as a kid, we had all these different card companies making cards. And when I was a child, I used to think they were all separate companies. But now when I go back and do my research and find out that, well, they were still pretty much owned, out of these companies, Fleer and Flair were the same thing, right? Or and so many acquisitions happened. And through finding out that pretty much Panini's, the favorite products that I like from Panini are all Pinnacle, Playoff, and Pacific products. So that just made me want to appreciate those, for lack of a better phrase, our wax forefathers who put those products and those ideas up front. I feel like we have to mention their name whenever a Prism product drops or a playoff contender product drops. I feel like not telling the history is taking away value and missed opportunity to add value, sustainable value. You know what I'm saying? History is sustainable value. So we feel like that Pacific, Pinnacle, Playoff, and all the other car companies before play a vital position. Even today, even if they don't exist under their own umbrella, they're still the same exact things, for lack of a better phrase. You know what I mean? So we just think it's vital to just tell them stories the same way it's vital to tell the stories of the athletes, not just how many points they scored, but what's really relatable. Like Michael J. Kramer, I think, is the most relatable part of the hobby for us specifically, because when we go back and study and research him, there's certain things about him that we have in common that we just like and love, that, you know what I mean? So it feels meant. And that's the good part, the fun part about reading and researching and learning, because you always find stuff that you want to learn, right? So it's just so much within Pacific and Michael J. Kramer that's still present in the hobby today. Everybody wants Prism, everybody wants Revolution, Crown Royale, still hot. All these other things are still hot. So I'm always going to mention their name as long as these things are present today.
Yeah, it's a great point, man. That past is the bridge to the present. We wouldn't have the present without respecting the past, and I love that what you just said. It rings true, and that even extends, as we both know, outside the hobby as well. Right now, we're talking about the hobby, but they were a little bit ahead of their time with that Prism. I remember when the Prism first came out, people thought it was kind of, wonky and like, what's this? And it's shiny. It's almost like a sticker I'd put on my fridge. I don't like it. And I thought, hey, look, they're thinking outside the box. They're not doing, some of the 90s is, as much as we're nostalgic, some of those designs, when we look back even now, are not really great. I know some people are getting nostalgic about them, but when you really look at them, are like, man, that's, I know some people love 91 Fleer, that yellow, and man, that to me, the design, I'm not talking about cards, I'm just saying that design didn't do it.
Right.
It didn't do it for me. But, Prism, I think, I don't want to speak for everyone. I think some people got a little scared. It was a little too different, and it took a lot of people too much out of their comfort zone. And I think, like you said, now we're sort of appreciating them more now, many years later than at the time, and deservedly so. And so I agree, without some of those brands you mentioned, Pacific, Playoff, Prism, we wouldn't have some of the stuff. Those are sort of the forefathers of design and cards that laid the groundwork for what we enjoy even today. And it's true. So I've seen you do, like, even I love that you love the history of the hobby. I've seen you do like some trivia where you ask people those questions from that time period. You make people think about stuff, take them out of their comfort zone, make them at least maybe do some research of their own to go back, even if they're younger than us, hey, and maybe not around in those time periods. Hey, I can still look back and see where this all started. And I appreciate the fact that you do that. So kudos to you.
Right on, brother. Right on.
All right, let's talk about Rip Packet Slab, the trio. You do, it's hip hop, but it's hobby related. It's obviously you're musically talented, along with your two partners. Talk a little bit about the history of that, where that started. Did it start were you doing that not hobby, and then you're like, you like the hot, or did it start there? Like, give me sort of that history.
Man, I'm gonna tell you exactly where it started, John. It started probably about 8 months ago, 7-8 months ago. Slabby Sosa, who's actually my brother, came running into the garage at home. He drove 40 miles away, came running into the garage and said, "Bro, all those cards and boxes you've been collecting and the hobby, it's going crazy. because I've been a closet collector is what I like to call it, with my toys and my cards. I've been doing it
Yeah.
within the comfort zone of my own home because none of my peers or friends ever cared about anything like that. I was the oddball when it came to, things like that. I had one of my best friends at Trail who would open packs with me and buy stuff with me just to spend time with me, but nobody really, cared other than
Yeah.
I cared for it. So my brother would, he was looking for different types of things to invest in that he would actually have fun with. And since I was already into the cards and a lot of the things that were happening, was buying wax and sitting on wax for a long time, thinking that 30 years from now, what happened last year or now would happen. You know what I mean? So it happened quicker than expected. So I'm not gonna lie, at first we tried to fit in and follow, bro. We tried to break, we tried to flip and sell retail wax. We tried everything that was going on in the hobby, but nothing fit for us because that wasn't us. We were just collectors, and we didn't care about getting cards graded because back when we were collecting cards weren't graded, so I could care less about that. For me, like you mentioned it, I think a lot of people get the nostalgia and how it makes you feel kind of mixed up with the design, because a design can be horrible, but the way the card makes me feel is something totally different, and I can still love it and appreciate it for that. So we collect items for that purpose and that purpose alone. So when we started breaking and trying to flip cards and this and that, it just wasn't fun for us. You know what I mean? There were so many other people doing it and having fun and great at it. So Slabby and myself said, well, look, just for giggles and laughs, let's start making videos where we take our favorite movies and we turn them into 1-minute hobby sketches. This is back in August, I think, of last year. We started doing that. And that's when Rip Hamiltop saw those skits online and said, bro, it's hilarious. Y'all are funny. And it started making him go into the hobby because he was actually a professional athlete. He played in the NFL. He played for the Detroit Lions for a few years. So he remembers signing off stickers just because he was getting paid per sticker and he needed that money to carry him over into his rookie contract, right? So we have a nonprofit organization, the Best Foundation, and for years, he would be signing Topps Chrome refractors and all this and giving them to kids away in schools. For the last 5-6 years, we've been doing that. Not, you know what I mean? So, and even back then, so it made him just think about the hobby and the process. And we educated each other on that from an athlete standpoint. He educated us. We educated him on what's going on in the hobby. And from there, he started like loving it more, right? So Slabby and I said, yo, we're going to take a song off the radio and turn it into a hobby song just for fun. And Javed is really the only one who has any kind of music experience before August 2020, because Slabby and I have never been in a studio, never made a song, never tried to write anything down. We were literally going to do it for fun to make ourselves laugh, right? And Javed said, nah, I have a studio. He went to school for this. He has a degree and a certificate for engineering. So he said, no, I'm going to send y'all a beat with a hook and y'all going to rap to it. And we said, no. But he sent us the beat with the hook and we said, all right, forget it. Let's just have fun and do it. And it was so much fun. And for us, it was so relatable to the cards, and a lot of our friends and family started being interested in the cards now because it started making sense for them. Like, it's funny and it's a joke, but if you listen to what we're saying, it's real hobby talk at the same time. You know what I mean? So if you're in the hobby, or if you want to get in the hobby, you'll understand, or you can learn how to understand. So that's where it started, as well as the content was just trying to add value, not necessarily trying to sell something, because we tried that and it wasn't us. We're all three of us have our own respective careers and jobs. We're able to provide for our own families and our own, you know what I'm saying, or for our own plates and tables. So we said with this, we wanted to make sure it's as pure and organic as possible. We don't want to force it. Yeah, of course, we're going to be selling merch and things like that in the future, but that's because we don't sell anything else. Like the things that we offer, we feel are unique. And we would just want to inspire and encourage other people to add value, not only in the hobby, but like you said, in any aspect in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely unique. And I want to be honest with you, man. Hearing some of those tracks and you telling me like that was just off the cuff, like a year ago, that's crazy, man. I mean, you have that sort of talent in you. You never even tapped into it, like you said, until till recently. I'm I'm a little surprised by that, but again, kudos to you guys. Even I mean, that just shows how talented you are intrinsically to just be able to do that. Like that. On the drop of a dime, so to
You know
speak.
what it is. You know what it is, John. Is a lot of people. Let's just be real. A lot of people who rap or do things rap about stuff they don't know about, and it's fabricated. I can't do that
Yeah.
because that's not me. So if I was gonna rap, I'm gonna rap about working at a school, doing community work, and taking showers and my kids. And people don't want to hear about that. So, so it was never of interest to me to want to rap or create any kind of music because the stuff that I had to offer, I didn't feel. But now I guess I'm so comfortable with my skin. It's like, I don't care. I want to rap about whatever everybody else isn't rapping about. And like, I'm an educator. I have children that look up to me. So I can't go out, doing certain things because they're going to follow exactly what I do. So I have to practice what I preach. So if I'm going to rap, I'm going to rap about something I would want them to rap about or within them same lanes and do it themselves.
That's awesome, man, and you do a great job. And like you said, let's talk about your video production. Like I already said, man, they're hilarious. Like they're real. I think what makes them funny is that there's stuff that people in the hobby all pretty much feel very similar. They're relatable, and you put a funny, comical spin on it. You take maybe even a subject that people really get angry about, whether
Right.
it be wait times on grading. I know you did one that I showed my son named Jordan. He's 21. It was the one where you said you had saving on one side and the spending at the national, and you were drawing, and I just laughed because it's so true. Like it hits, like you see that stuff and you're like, yeah, yep, and it's just great. Like though that video product, like when a thought pops in your head, hey, I want to, like, where does that like, other than obviously real life situation, real hobby situations, like from thought to actual production, kind of describe that process. How long, when we see the video, like when did you think about doing the video from when we see it? You know what I mean?
9 times lately, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like in the past month, lately, I could make a video in under 5 minutes, and I don't like holding anything. If I've already posted 3 or 4 videos, I'll wait till the next day. But sometimes I repost stuff so people think it's new. But a lot of the TikTok content, I literally I'll either think of it or I'll be on TikTok and see something that isn't hobby related, and I'll just make it hobby related. Or other
Yeah.
times, my kids will come up with something, or my lady come up with something, or a song. I'll hear a song on the radio and say, "Oh, I can do that with that." So it's a combination of all of those. And whenever I think about it, I just like to do it right away. A lot of people always have been trying to tell me to hold back and not drop so much and save it. But I say, for what? I'm doing it because it makes me feel good. It's people always reach out and say,
makes me
it
feel
makes
good too, and a lot of other
good.
people.
Exactly. There's some people who look forward to seeing it and smiling, and it literally doesn't. For me now, at the process that we're at with it, it doesn't take that much time out of my day at all to just. I don't do it until I already know what I'm gonna do. So once I hit record, it's done in 1 or 2 takes, and then I'm gonna post it right away.
And I love, like you said, you incorporate your kids and your
Mm-hmm.
woman in the videos. And I was going to ask you, like, how many takes? I mean, some of these, do you ever like crack yourselves up? You got to like redo it. Like how usually, how many takes does a lot of this stuff does it take you to get that final?
So for me, lately I've been on a roll. But when I'm not on a roll, for me, when I'm by myself, then I might have some slip ups to where it may take me some time to get it down for whatever reason. But whenever my family's helping me, I try to keep it to 1 or 2 takes, because sometimes if it's not their idea, I'm kind of bothering them sometimes. You know what I mean? So they're
Yeah.
doing the best acting. they deserve the best credit when it comes to acting. You know? So a lot of their scenes are 1 take, so they do real good. But a lot of the ones we did before may have been. We've done so many, I don't know. But I know with the TikTok, since I've been playing with TikTok, before I got used to it and learned how to hit the buttons and stuff, it would take me ages to make a video.
Yeah. Now, when these thoughts, I know you said you do them pretty quickly when they pop in your head. You ever have to write some stuff down so you don't forget, like, hey, I want to do this? but I don't have time to do it right now. So I'm gonna write it down, and when I'm ready to do it, I'll come back to it. I do that with show material, with topics on show. So I was just wondering, with the creative process, I'm older than you, so my mind is starting to wander, and so I have to write things down so I can remember them later. Otherwise, it's out of sight, out of mind.
See, and we shouldn't have this. It's three of us, and we still have to write it down because the three of us can't remember collectively. So yeah, we write it down. We have a notebook of all the ideas that we've thought of, and we make sure we text it to each other in our thread, and we write it down in our little Google Doc that we have too. So all the ideas and everything that we have housed on at least 2 or 3 different platforms.
Awesome. And you commented on it. I definitely want to highlight it. It's near and dear to my heart. You're an educator. You coach basketball. I know kids are very important to you, not just in the hobby, but even in life. And you're a role model to them. How many of, do a lot of them know kind of what you do with this hobby related content? Do they know you do that? Or do you even like, hey, check this out? What percentage of them, I guess, know kind of your hobby side?
All my students, all my students and kids that I work with know everything about me, whether because they follow me or they hear about it, but they don't care about that part. They think it's cool that other people think I'm cool, but you know how it is. If you're a caring, consistent adult on a school campus, they're going to think you're a superstar. You are a superstar already. You're already, I don't care what actor or musician, if you can't walk onto a school campus and all the kids rush you every single day, you're not a superstar. You know what I mean? So they look at it like, yeah, we know Coach Pete been doing that on the school grounds for the last however many years. He's just doing it on the internet now. And yeah, we know about his brother and cousin. Like, yeah, it's not old to us. They've been coming to the school and playing with us and doing things. So
yeah. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate that as a former varsity football and baseball coach, and having kids come up to me and say, Coach, I spend more time, you spend more time with me than my own dad does, and I want to say thank you. And that really hits you when you hear those things. And even now, I'm not in the coaching profession anymore, but I see a lot of these guys that, whether it be in the supermarket or a mall, and sometimes they see me first and they come up from behind me and like shove me and like, Coach, and that now they're taller than me as I shrink. Like, it takes me like a second or two to like just focus. Oh my God, it's so, holy smokes, you got big. And it's that stuff, knowing you're making a difference and you're inspiring young people to do the best they can be. And I think that's a testament to you, the man. And I just want to say thank you as someone who's been there, done that, tries to continue that as best he can. And hats off to you, and you're still doing it. Keep going. And I know I heard you on your own podcast talk about it, and you made a great point. There's some pay sometimes, right? It's not nothing you're gonna pay bills really with, and we don't do that. It's not even about the money, as you said, and it never was for me. It's about those kids, and that's the one thing. Someone asked me the other day, like, do you miss coaching? And I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't miss the long days, man, like 4:30 to 11 o'clock and repeat. I don't miss that stuff. I miss fellow coaches, and I miss but you better believe I miss those kids and being there for them, and you're doing that now. And so I want to shout that out and say thank you, and keep doing it. Sometimes it's a thankless job sometimes too, but it's when we get that feedback from the kids who say, hey, thanks, Coach, you're there more than so and so is. And I appreciate you. That's worth more than any stipend check or check. It really is. And so I wanted to,
investment.
For those,
the true investment.
For those that don't know you do that, I want to give you props and get that word out there that's who you are. And so kudos to you. So I mentioned a podcast too, where I heard you talking about your coaching career that's outside the wax with Card Killer. He's been on the show. He's a fellow. I'm in Syracuse now, but I'm originally from Brooklyn. He's from Brooklyn as well, and Donnie B Collectibles. I want to give props to that too. Talk about how did that collaboration sort of come about? How did that thing start?
A dream come true. A dream come true. So organic, Don. I had been following Donnie and Card Killer and several other card artists too, probably longer than any other kind of card page ever. So I was a closet collector, so I didn't care about the hype or the PSAs or the paninis, or I didn't really care about any of that. I was in love with. I followed a few pages who had some cool collections, and then a lot of card artists. And for years, I thought Donnie B and Card Killer were just like, and some other card artists were just the coolest people on earth. Originally, when I saw their page, specifically Card Killer, I was like, wow, what is he doing to that card and why? Right? But through just watching it and then learning and understanding just from far away and not even meeting him or talking to him, I learned an appreciation for his artwork, his craft, his architecture, the engineering, and the why behind it, really. You know what I mean? And man, one day, I think I was on live or Donnie was on live, and I either hopped into his live or he hopped into mine, and he asked to join or invited me. And then we just had a 20, 30-minute conversation. The very next night, I think we talked again offline, and he mentioned Card Killer and said that they have a podcast and felt that I would be perfect for it. How could you say no? And then the very next day, I think I got to meet Card Killer. What? Like, how can you say no to that? So, yeah. Our schedule, specifically mine, has been crazy these past few weeks. We haven't been able to get in the lab and put one together, but we're definitely still making that happen. Those guys are, man, it's surreal. That's like surreal for me. Those are like the idols. I could care less about the athletes on the cards now and a lot of the people, but Card Killer and Donnie B were two of the people that I wanted to idolize in the hobby. So to be able to have this personal relationship with them and rapport and share some of the same passions too is just amazing.
Yeah, you guys do a great job. I do listen to the show. I catch as many as I can. I know you do to come out with another one, but you said something that I agree with, because when I first saw what Card Killer was doing, it took me aback a little bit. It was almost sacrilegious.
Yeah,
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I get a little bit of it, but there's a better way to probably get this point across. And so I echo what you said. I didn't kind of like it at first, but then I didn't hop off. I stayed with the show. Kind of, it's like a movie. It doesn't start off good, but you don't hit the off button just yet, and then it picks up, and you're like, all right, I see where this is going now. I get the beginning a little bit more now that I'm into the middle. And I've had him. I've gotten to know him. He's done a custom card for the show. I know his real identity, which I've been sworn to secrecy. Yep. And he's a very talented person, even outside the art world.
Outside of the hobby,
yeah. So and he does a lot of stuff, as you know, with charity. And what I initially thought of him was not what the real person was. And there's a lesson in there too, Peter, is that, don't be too quick. And we're all guilty of this, I think, at some points or others in their lives. But the lesson in there is maybe don't be too quick to pass judgment until you really know that is who they are, or maybe they're not. And let's find out more about them. And, Card Killer's a great guy, Donnie B. And now you guys are all collaborating on that podcast and do a great job with it. And it's different. A lot of these podcasts sort of, kind of starting to sound the same. I try to, I'm a guest driven show with this show. I always say, more to guests and less of me. But in listening to you guys, you talk about, it's not just hobby. You talk about life. You talked about like that's how I know about you. You're coaching and what that means to you, and you're doing it not for a paycheck, but for love of youth and their future. And I love that you can get that out of a hobby podcast. It's not just about what this card's worth. This company messed up here. I mean, that's part of the hobby too, but life is we have lives outside the hobby, and the fact that you guys will interject that, I try to do a little bit of that with this show as well. I think that's important, and this hobby can consume you too. We got to be careful. There's a
Yeah,
balance.
yeah,
There's a balance there that we have to respect. You're a dad. You got to be a dad too. It can't be as much as we both love the hobby. We're parents. My son's 21, so he's sort of a man now. As crazy as that makes me feel old to even say that. He's legal drinking age, and he's a good kid. I give him and maybe a little bit a pat myself on the back and mom, but we still
of
have to
course.
be family guys, and I think that's the risk. Sometimes the hobby's great, but sometimes you can get really caught up in the machine, so to speak. And I think you do, being a dad, and I know you're a good one. And with the kids at school, you're finding that balance. I think some other people could probably take a cue or a page out of your book, and so kudos there. So I got to
Appreciate it,
ask
John.
you.
Thank you. That's why I try and share it as much as possible.
Well, you're welcome. It's true. So you don't really have to thank you because it's true. But so have you been? I'm assuming you're going to Chicago for the National. Would I be wrong or right?
I'm going. It's official. I'm
Uh,
going. Slabby's gonna go. Another one of my friends is coming with me, and then Rip, he's gonna try and make it, but he also coaches varsity football, so he's gonna try and make it maybe for one night, one day. But if not, uh, we'll be there to represent for him.
yeah. Now have you met Card Killer or Donnie B in person yet?
Not in person, just over the phone. We've talked FaceTime,
Yeah.
but I know I'm gonna see Card Killer for sure at the National.
Okay, that's where I was going. So and that's
Hmm.
we talk about cards and stuff, and the tagline of this show is the hobby is the people, and it's a tagline that came up
Yeah,
very early. Obviously, we're all here because we have a passion and love for the cards, or otherwise we wouldn't be here. But for me, who's done this approaching 40 years, not quite there yet. Um, it's that people along the journey. I can name people from when I was, 9 years old. I can name people from, my 20s and 30s that were impactful to me in the hobby. And it's those relationships and people we meet along the way, even the ones we maybe kind of lose contact with, but they still were important as part of that journey. And whatnot. But I think the National too is a great place. I call it the Super Bowl, the hobby, and like a lot of shows, we can meet some people for the first time in person there, and there's something to that. I believe in, like, I'm a handshake and hug guy. Even
yeah,
even pandemic
yeah.
even pandemic wise, I still
Me
that's how
too,
I
bro.
was
Me too.
raised.
I'm the same way.
Yep, and
I need that energy
that's one.
exchange. I need it. I need it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got vaccinated, so I can still. I don't lose that. I don't want to lose that personalization with people. That was my. Obviously getting sick or ultimately worse. Passing away is not something no one wants. But one of my big fears, even when the pandemic first hit, was, are we going to lose like that closeness, that handshake, that hug? I don't want to lose that. Even when this is all said and done and over with, I don't want that to be a byproduct that we lose because of this. And so, if I got to get a shot
Right.
every year to keep doing that, then so be it. And I
Right.
hope, and I don't think we are. I was worried about that at first, but humans are resilient, and I think we'll. Some people might not do it anymore, but I think the majority are going to say, "Hey, I'm vaccinated. I'll use hand sanitizer. Take all the precautions, but I'm still going to be a handshake and a fist pound, hug guy, whatever it is you do." And I'm glad we're not going to sort of lose that. I was a big fear of mine, and so and when you meet people, the fact that you don't lose that is, to me, is important anyway. I know to others, like you
It
just said,
is.
you agreed it's important. So how many is this? This isn't your. Is this going to be your first national or no?
Yep, first national.
All right. So it's I'm sure you know already. Believe it or not, for as long as I've been in the hobby, 2019, Peter, was my first national. That was also in Chicago as well. And so the
Okay.
one word, if you didn't ask for any advice, but I'll give it to you. Anyway, whatever you
Please give
think,
me all the advice,
yeah,
please.
whatever you think it is, it's even bigger. It's even bigger than that. So for me, who's even been in the hobby, what I thought about it and what I knew from talking to other people who also went, it's I coined. I don't know if I was the first person or I call it the Super Bowl of the hobby, just with the amount of people there, what's
Wow.
there. We got a main stage, and the old saying is, if it's not in that convention center card wise, it probably doesn't exist. It's like a museum in itself. All the auction houses are there with some of that rare stuff, with guys in suits and probably packing underneath their on their waistband. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's crazy, but it's like a good sort of crazy. And like, just I even take one day, like, just really just not even about cards, but just meeting everyone that you've met in online form, and meeting them in person, shaking hands, doing those hugs, talking, photo ops, all that fun stuff. You got to do almost one day just with that, because there's so many people in the hobby
yeah.
that you meet along this way. And then the other days you can obviously look around and do sort of that thing. But where you're gonna be doing a lot of walking, comfortable shoes, and it's gonna be fun. Whatever you think it is, it's gonna be 10 times bigger. Because believe me, I thought the same. I thought the same thing. I'm looking forward to knowing that you're going. It's your first time, and I'm looking forward to meeting you, obviously, in person. I've never met Card Killer or Donnie B in person. Hopefully, that happens as well. And it's fun. It's funny because when it's over and then we head back home, there'd be a little bit like national withdrawals. You'd be like, man, I missed the feeling already.
Right.
But then it gives us something to look for. Like, we're already counting the days
Look
to the
forward
next
to.
one. And it's funny because
Right.
3 or 4 weeks ago we weren't even sure this event was 100% gonna go on, and here we are. It's gonna be a go,
That's real.
and it's big, and it's fun. I mean, what have you thought about? You have like an itinerary? You got a game plan going in there at all?
Yeah, the game plan is to enjoy it first and foremost and just be a fan and a spectator. But I know I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people. There's a lot of people who've reached out and said they're looking forward to meeting us. So I'm looking forward to that. We've been invited to a few dinners and things here and there. So I'm looking forward to just learning a lot, meeting a lot of people. I don't have any expectations. I just want to go into it with just to have fun, and whatever happens. But we do have some stuff up our sleeves as far as content, and hopefully engaging more people, since we're going to be in an environment where we may not be able to see those people again, and who knows when. We want to make sure we capture as many moments and make it special for sure.
Yeah, are you in for the whole week? Do you know? I don't want to give away your plans, but you're here for the whole week?
Yep. I'll
All
be there
right.
Wednesday, and I'll leave Sunday morning. So I won't be there for the Sunday
Yeah.
activities, but I'll be there Wednesday early for the late night thing, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all day.
Yep. So you'll have plenty of time. I was going to say the worst mistake you can make is you need those days to do everything. And sometimes not even having a plan is the best plan. Flying by the seat of your pants. It's hard to really make. Hey, at 7 o'clock, I'm doing this, because something always comes up. It seems like, oh man. And so sometimes just winging it is sometimes the best part of it. And you're gonna have a blast, and it's gonna be a regular event. As I was even 50-50. As recently as like 6 weeks ago, on whether I was gonna make it or not. And I realized, like, you can't really not go, because I'm gonna regret, like, once it's going on. And I'm here in Syracuse. Nothing against Syracuse, I love it, but I'm be like, man, I wish I was in Chicago right now. So I knew that would happen, so I made it. I made it happen. I use some of those like combo packages where you get hotel and airfare and you get a deal on it. And I got a decent deal and pull the trigger on it. So I'm going to be there and looking forward to meeting you amongst many others. And it's going to be a blast for sure.
Absolutely. Same here. I didn't know whether I was going to go or not, but I said, I don't know if I'm going to have the opportunity again. So let's just do it.
Yep. Well, Peter, hey man, thanks for making some time for the show. I know you're a busy guy. I don't know how you get everything done. You should write a book about that. I'd probably buy it and read it. And I don't always like to read, but you're doing great.
I'll put it in the song for you. I'll put it in the song.
There you go. I'll definitely listen to that before I read. But you're doing great things, man. Great things for the kids. Great things for the hobby. With the content, man, your passion shines through. I for one appreciate it. I know many others do the same. RPS, I don't want to leave them out. I know, like you said, even I want to give you props too. As people who follow the show know, the guest always appears as a card on the podcast art. And so when I asked Peter for a picture, he sent me the picture of the three guys, RPS. And I said, hey, I'm going to admit, I said, hey, do you have one like just you? And he said, no, man, we don't roll like that. Well, I'm representing my crew. And when hearing him say that, I'm not gonna lie, I felt a bit bad for asking you afterwards, but I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that, and shows who you are. It really does, and what you're about, and what you stand for, and we need more people, I think, in the hobby like Peter Packman. Truth be told, and so again, that card will be on the podcast art, and I'm going to produce them as I always do. I produce about. I'll make some more. I'll make some more since there's all three of you on the card. I'm going to bring those to Chicago with me, and I'll give you some. And I have a guest book here for those listening. They can't see this, but you can. So whoever's been a guest on the show, they have the cards made, and I usually send it to them with a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I say, hey, sign one and just send it back to me. But yours, since I'm going to catch up with you in Chicago, I'm just going to bring it with me and get it signed in person for the book. So.
Man, right on, John. Hey, we want to say we appreciate it too, man. It takes a village. So, man, you've put in your own work respectively too. So, thank you for all the work you've put in. We all can't save everybody, right? All of us have to save one or our own family or community. So, thank you for doing your job and your part too. And on behalf of RPS, we really I need to do a better job and more job of this, but just for sharing your platform with us. Sometimes in this hobby, as African American, as a Black male, sometimes it's certain rooms aren't as comfortable to be in, and for you to share your platform with us, and this is something that my students can see and other kids can see, and it's just the empathy and the equality and just the engagement and rapport that was built, and just the way you made us feel valued. We just appreciate it. We feel loved, valued. I can't ask for anything more. That right there. If we had to leave the hobby today, that right there made it worth everything.
Well, listen, maybe a future we can get all three of you on at the same time. I'd love it. When I see you in Chicago, the stories are too long for here. I'm going to tell you a couple stories. Why I am the way I am, kind of growing up in Brooklyn. It's kind of made me who I am today. Jackie Robinson is my idol, by the way, and there's a good reason for that. Those are stories I'll save for maybe those in-person meetings, and I'll tell you all about it then. But just kind of the way I was raised, and that's who I am. And so I look forward to meeting you. But before you go, floor is yours, man. Give out any URLs, any social media where people can find you, what you're doing, RPS, and take your time. There's no time limit. Anything you want to give out so people can track you guys down.
As of right now, you can follow us Instagram, Peter Packman, Peter_Packman, Javid.best, and Slabby.Sosa. I think it's Javid Best with no dot. Just Javid Best with no period. And then Slabby.Sosa. And then Rip_Pack_Slab_. Also Rip_Slab_Pack_ on TikTok as well. And I think on Twitter, we're not as active on Twitter as we could or should be or will be maybe in the future, who knows. But that's it. We have a website that will be dropping soon. That's coming soon. We're waiting for a lot of whole other things to line up and be right. So everything is an experience. When we do offer something to people in the manner that where they're going to have to pay for it, we want it to be a hobby-related experience that they've never experienced before. So we have our hoodies coming out. We've already started gift packaging those. The hoodies are equipped with either a rip pack or a slab or QR code to an exclusive song nobody's heard yet. There's a whole bunch of goodies that may or may not be in the pack on average. It's true hobby fashion on average. So if you don't get anything, don't be disappointed. It's on average, right? We got a whole bunch of configurations and fun things that we just want to offer to the hobby. And that's coming soon. Our video game, our app, we have a hobby video game where you can go around collecting slabs. That's going to be dropping probably at the end of the month. If not the end of the month, sometime beginning of next month. And it will most likely be a free app for people. I don't think we're going to end up charging. We think we're going to end up just dropping it for people so they can play and have fun with it, man. And that's it for now. That's it for now. We're just trying to make sure we appreciate the hobby for accepting us. For those who have, lack of a better phrase, paved the way for us, those who have made a way for us, those who have allowed us, those who have shared their platform with us, those who have introduced us to so many other people in the hobby. Got to give a shout out to the hobby collectors, my guy Reza. When I went to our first card show in Dallas back in January or December, I was nervous. I didn't know what to do, where to look, where to pay, or anything like that. And just him being in there and this smooth, calm collectiveness really made us feel comfortable traveling out on our own and going to these shows and meeting people and just trying to show everybody that we're just like them. We want to offer value. We want to learn. We want to hear those stories about Jackie Robinson and growing up as a kid, because that's what we remember from our LCS shops, is talking to all the gentlemen in there about stories of athletes that they admired or that they got to see play. So we just want to feel those vibes, bro. That's it.
Well, man, you're doing big things. Video games, music. It's crazy, man. I can't even draw a stick figure to save my life. So it's just keep awesome stuff, man. Like I said, the hobby is better for you guys being involved in it. Keep going. Keep doing big things, and look forward to meeting you and everyone else in Chicago, man. We'll have some fun. Gonna be a fun time.
Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Say hello. We're gonna say hello right
no,
back.
I'm not shy. I'm not shy. If I see you,
everybody else.
Yeah,
Some
okay.
people are shy. I'm the nicest. It's all good.
Yeah, no problem. All right, Peter, man, thank you, man. Be safe, be well. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep killing it. Thanks for making some time for us today. It was an absolute blast.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.